So Twig, a pretty convincing win away at Alberton on Saturday afternoon. Firstly, how'd you find the performance?
I thought it was strong. I thought we played well from start to finish. I thought it was a really good contest. I think we kept them to 11 inside 50s up to half time, which shows our ability to keep it in our half but also restrict them from getting through. And inaccuracy was probably a slight concern at the first quarter, but I thought the way the guys played, they just kept sticking to the task and playing the way we know that works well for us and what we'd sort of plan to do against Port Adelaide. And yeah, it started to bear fruit. I thought the third quarter was a real tough quarter, one of the toughest quarters I reckon we played this year, which we spoke at half time that we knew Port Adelaide had something in them, given the game wouldn't have looked the way they wanted it to at half time. So I thought that third quarter was a real arm wrestle, and I think it got back to 2 goals, and each time they got close we were able to just pull away. So overall I thought it was a really strong performance. I thought it was full of merit and full credit to our players.
Yeah, just on that, as you know, every time we kicked away and they came back and it ebbed and flowed a little bit, but we always looked in real control of the game. How pleasing was that from a coach?
Well, we kept talking about growth through the season, that the team that grows the most will probably have the most success this year, and we think we're growing, and we still think we've got a bit more to do, but part of the growth is how you deal to challenges, and probably since post Glenelg, where we felt that we didn't quite stand up to the challenge when Glenelg came back at us, we've been able to do that against South Adelaide, against Centrals, and now against Port Adelaide, where we've had a margin. It's been reeled in a little bit, but then we've been able to pull away. So I think that part of our overall professionalism and understanding of game sense and where things lie, and believe that just because they've got a bit of a run on doesn't mean that we're out of control. We've worked pretty hard in the last month about that phase of the game, and it started to come out really consistently.
Obviously a disappointing injury to our skipper Matty Nunn, who looks like another hamstring injury. Obviously he went down, but how happy were you with the performance of the engine room in particular, Michael Noel and the guys in there?
Yeah, Nunn's a big loss. I thought he was having a fair influence on the game up until when he hurt himself early in the second quarter. But our midfield were challenged. They didn't perform well against Sturt, and thought bringing Noel in to be able to ruck with Boyd really had a big bearing on the game. That Kennelly, Grigg, Roker, McKenzie all played really strong games. I think Josh Richards once again has taken another step forward over the last month since he's come into the team. He's made us better. So yeah, that part of the ground was really pleasing, and we're able to get Don Barry go through the wing after Nunn went down, so showed some versatility there as well. But I thought they were able to have good ascendancy at centre bounce in the first half, which has been an area of inconsistency this year, but yeah, overall the midfield was really pleasing.
You had a great view of Paul Pogbas' mark. Just talk us through that from the boundary. I mean, all of a sudden he's up, and how'd you feel when you saw that?
Oh, it's one of the best marks I've seen live. I thought the South Adelaide mark he took earlier in the year was one of the better ones with what it did to the crowd and our players alike, but that one on the weekend was technically as good as you'll see. We were right underneath it, in front of it from the bench, and yeah, I hope someone captured it in a still frame because it'd be a serious photo. But yeah, for a little fellow with ageing legs, he's still got a bit of power, and yeah, it was a real lifting mark for the whole ground. I look at the crowd reaction after it was terrific.
Obviously, we talk about the players like Grigg and Roker and all that, but how about guys like Tristan Binder that comes in and kicked 3 on the weekend? He was really good. Tom Wagner back into the team. He played a little league footy and then back into the reserves. Now back in the league team, and then Joshy Richards is putting together some really solid form. How about those guys, Twig, and how impressed with you with their development?
Yeah, very, Joe, because they've all come up from the reserves, and I'm a big believer that you can improve your footy and reserves footy if you've got the right mindset, and Binder was playing consistently well. Pascoe played well to get his chance and got the 2 games, and probably argue a bit stiff to go out, but Wagner's been playing well for 5 weeks at 2's level. Josh Richards has been doing it for 5 weeks, so we've had a pretty strong level of integrity with selection this year, we believe, of rewarding performance when the opportunity arises and supporting people in the team if they keep playing their part. So I thought Binder today showed his capabilities and quality. He was borderline whether it was between him and Pascoe this week and Wagner. The 2 of those 3 would play. I thought Wagner made our forward line look good. He blended in really well, and I thought transfer coming back as well made a difference. And you touched on Richards, just a quality young man who works very hard and is starting to have serious impact. Ideally we'd get him inside, but there's a bit of a logjam in there to get him inside for 2 longer periods, but he's accepted playing on the wing with little doses, and really pleased with his progression this year.
And just lastly, our reserves, they had a tough loss down at Noarlunga against South Adelaide. However, opens up opportunity with Matty Nunn, being injured. Who's a chance to potentially fill the void in there or anywhere else in the pitch?
Yeah, the twos competed really well and got overrun by a more experienced South Adelaide team in the weekend. And I thought, considering we had 3 or 4 under-18 players and a new player in Tyron Book from Brighton Bombers in there, they competed quite well. But I really liked what I saw from Cavallaro. I thought it's one of the best games I've seen him play at twos level this year. I thought Jack Hurd was absolutely terrific. I thought Daniger's starting to show what he's about. So there's a few guys there, the most recent omission in Pascoe and also Gerloff. So there's a few guys that we can go to. It'll just be a matter of looking at the balance of our team, the performance, both on the track as well as what's been put out there in a game.
Appreciate your time, Patrick.
Thanks, Joe.